Welcome, Victor Uniform 2, Tango Uniform Mike, Oldman Puneet. It's great to have you on Zeda Tech, which is the podcast bringing from the tech world and also revolving very closely to the ham radio world. And it's great to have our first phase two, a call sign episode with you because you're definitely someone who has really added value to my ham radio journey and the way we interacted, the way we started. It was really valuable for me. And with this podcast, I really want this value can be shared with newcomers who are really feel like
Mm.
excited about the hobby and who would want to get in. So thanks for doing this. I'm really glad that you chose to give your time and making this possible.
To Juliet Delta Charlie. It's great to be here and great to. I think it's a good start of a long journey, and I hope that you will interview more people from within India and the subcontinent. Uh, so, like we were discussing before the podcast, there is another podcast which has been going for a while called QSO Today by
Yes,
Eric
sir.
Guth. So he has been interviewing around 500 hams and two of them, two Indian hams are also there. One our own Ganesh VU2 Tango Sera. He has one interview with him, and another is JXL or something like I have to remember the call sign, but Ramakrishna from Bangalore. So
Right.
he's also been interviewed by him. And since then, I've been hoping that somebody there should be more representation from the Asian subcontinent, Asia, especially the Indian subcontinent, because one, like this is the uh, era of South Asia. If you see all these politicals happening, and India, China, and everything growing, we have the largest populations living in the part of the world. So this is going to be the era of the Asian people, and I think that's what is important, that we have representation as well. And about my ham journey, I mean, it's a very peculiar one. I used to back in, I think, 2007 or 8. I used to have some aquariums at home, and I was struggling with keeping this fish alive and thriving. Like keeping alive is one part and thriving is another part. So back then in 2006, 7, 8, there used to be those internet forums, which we have today also, those bulletin boards, but
Yes.
they have been replaced by Discord and Matrix and all those things. So I joined one of these forums, and I was very happy to find one Indian aquarium enthusiast there, quite active. Uh,
Hmm.
so, and his name is Raj. So one day he was emailing me, and by mistake, I think he signed his call sign VU2ZAP. And
Hmm.
I was like, okay, very cute. I mean, thanks for all your help, but what is this VU2ZAP? And then he explained what is ham radio and everything. So we went on a different tangent. I was pretty much quite hooked from that moment itself. Started reading about it, and of course, it's
Hmm.
as we all know, it's a very interesting hobby, and it has that kind of magnetism that attracts people to it itself. Be it your desire to communicate across the world, be it your desire to experiment with radio, be it your desire to build something on your own, or
Right.
I mean, like it's a very vast hobby. In fact, one of the interviews I was listening to a few weeks ago, uh, so this person says that, okay, I am a ham, my mother is a ham, but my father is not a ham. And the interviewer said, okay, then he can be a QSL manager, which itself, if you see, it's a hobby of its own. A
Absolutely.
couple of days back, I received an email from ham in Hong Kong
Hmm.
requesting for a QSL card. However, he
Hmm.
wants some nice stamps on it because he's also into stamp collection. So,
All right.
this hobby is a vast hobby, and you can come into it with so many ways. Uh,
Hmm.
as long as you have the curiosity, you like to learn something, you like to experiment. You may be an appliance operator, huh? I mean, this term, I think it was kind of meant to be a derogatory at a point. maybe like 20 years ago when equipment was not available, that you're an appliance operator. But I personally feel it's not the case. In order to operate these complicated appliances like the new age radios, it also requires a lot of skill, learning, and also to understand how to operate, where to go and find settings. And we will touch upon this when we come to the CW part of it. So in
Hmm.
2000, so Raj told me about Bharti, VU2 RBI. Everybody knows her in Indian, and she's a
Yes.
globally renowned ma'am as well. So he
Hmm.
said he has heard that she's taking some classes, and I think they spoke on the air, and she asked him to share her number with me. So he asked me to call her. So I called her and I said, "Ma'am, see, I know nothing about it. I just heard about it, but I know there is a license to be cleared. So can you tell me more about it?" She said, "I'm taking classes. Why don't you come to my classes 3 times a week
Hmm.
for a month, and then you can sit for exam?" I said, "Okay, fine." She said, "I'll teach you Morse code enough to pass
Exams.
the
Hmm.
exams, and straight away go for the general grade." And I think during that time itself, so I could be wrong on the dates, but it was around that time that this advanced grade was merged into general grade.
Right.
So
Okay.
if you recollect, we used to have restricted, general, and advanced, and you normally could not get advanced grade straight away. You need
Correct.
to work, I think, 100 or four, some amount of contacts, share the logs
Mm.
with the WPC, and then they would upgrade your license. So there were three categories. It merged into two. A lot of people were not happy about it, especially the ones
Hmm.
who had advanced. They were like, "What is this? I mean, we worked hard for it, and these newbies are gonna get it just like that." So
Yes.
that's another part. I think at some point we should touch upon the clash between the generation which went through the
Mm.
struggles of not being able to import radios, or the availability was not there, and now where there's an information boom. You have, I mean, okay, AliExpress shut down a few years ago, but you still have Banggood. You
Hmm.
have these websites who would ship directly to India. You pay your customs and you clear for it. I mean, but still the possibility exists. It's easy. E-commerce is on its peak these days. You did not know how to
True.
buy, so there is kind of a privilege that we have, and that's why I feel that this time is a great time to be a ham,
Absolutely.
because you have no dearth of information. I've been active on Reddit as well. There's a post that I keep getting a lot of inputs on. Like people still
Hmm.
write to me on that post saying, "Tell us how to be a ham."
Hmm.
So, so there is Reddit, there is WhatsApp, there is Telegram, there is Discord. I mean, there is a community on Matrix also, and I'm sure there are more, but these are the most famous ones. We people are connected on Mastodon, people are connected on Instagram, and then Reddit, Fediverse. Hams are everywhere, spread across everywhere.
Right.
Zoom, the evidence, like the popularization of Zoom during COVID again gave a huge boost to this entire hobby.
Hmm.
Earlier, now, like since in fact, in this last 6 7 8 months, I've attended so many Zoom calls with global hams, and it's really interesting to share ideas, to for us to clear their they have some questions like, how do you operate in India?
Hmm.
So those kind of questions, I mean, people don't know answers to, and it's better when we have a face-to-face discussion. It helps.
Similar way, there was SKCC. So I
Hmm.
joined in this hobby specifically due to a heavy inclination in CW. So just quickly, we'll share a little bit about my journey because this is our first podcast, and
Yeah.
I've quite frankly never talked about my own journey on my own podcast before. But yes, this
Hmm.
would be helpful, I think, so people would know like who they are interacting with. So my father has been Ham himself, Victor Uniform 3 Tango India Lima.
Okay.
He's been since like 2005, and like my uncle Victor Uniform 3 Papa Uniform Alpha PUA. So,
Okay.
Mr. Rakesh Mishra. So, both of them have significantly um, uh, contributed in understanding what exactly the hobby is. why is it important to get licensed in the first place? Because they've been tinkering around with
Mm.
electronics since quite a while. But
Mm.
having a dedicated hobby where regulated enough to, recognize your ability to, handle such
Yeah.
complex instruments. So all of this is so critical, and like I got the opportunity to learn it since early of my childhood. But the inclination to get into the hobby got
Mm.
in only recently when the CW fever got into me. So I felt like it's such an impressive mode where you can just, just through your own neural connections and just like slight finger movements, you could just trigger a wave across the globe and communicate your message like intelligibly enough that it could carry a lot of sense for other people. So this was basically my inclination to get into the hobby, and you obviously, through this SKCC inclination, you got in touch and you explained so many critical things which made the journey so easy. And that's where I think it was a pivot point, and the reason we are doing this podcast. So, even those
Yeah.
who are a little eager to get into it becomes easier. So we'll share certain things which you shared with me, and like this will add value to them as well. Yeah.
Let's talk about SKCC. I mean,
Yeah.
so I mean, it's something like if you are searching on CW on the internet, I think anybody would come across couple of clubs. One
Mm-hmm.
is SKCC. There is Fists. There is LICW and the CW Ops, LCWO. Now, LCWOs, LICW are basically club courses, and even CW Op,
Yes.
you can become a member of the academy and you can go through classes and you can learn CW that way.
Mm-hmm.
However, SKCC is basically trying to preserve the historical aspect of CW where people only use straight keys
Right.
or mechanical keys. Let's not say, though it's called a straight key century club, but it caters to all mechanical keys, side swipers, which are also called cooties and bugs, and of course straight keys. Of course, you could, if you are unable to use a straight key, you can apply for an exception and you can still work as a KCC member. But now, uh, this I learned very recently, but so because once you start getting deep dive into things, you would get answers to questions which you had like 4 years ago, and the answer would come like four weeks ago. So
Mm-hmm.
this I was like I was doing CW Ops intermediate level, and one of the requirements was to switch to a paddle. And
Mm-hmm.
entire my journey of CW initially was on straight key because I was more comfortable with the straight key. Uh,
Right.
and since the requirement was being using a paddle, I learned how to use a paddle. Of course, it's easier than it appears on the first go. Uh,
Correct.
but then the instructor John AJ 1DM, he said that if you are using a paddle, don't go below 15 words per minute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if you are still learning, you're still doing 12 words, 10 words a minute, yeah, straight keys is the key to use.
Mm-hmm.
Because the timing of the straight key of the paddle at 10, 12 words a minute is so
Mm-hmm.
long that your muscle memory of making the characters is not going to be perfect once you start increasing the speed.
I
Once you go
agree.
north of 18 words per minute, 20, 22, 25 words a minute, I mean, it sounds daunting. It is not. And I have been having so many conversations with so many people over the phone calls
Mm-hmm.
that how you can achieve certain speeds uh, without uh, being overwhelmed by it.
Mm-hmm.
So, straight key, I mean, one of the advantage of SKCC is that they have a sked page,
Yes.
and you can go on the sked page and you can live interact with people who are available for a straight key QSO, or they also have something called a SKCC skimmer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's a software developed basically. So before we touch on the schema, again, we will have to probably edit this out, but yeah, I'll have to explain what RBN is, reverse beacon
Mm-hmm.
network. So reverse beacon network is a tool that exists on the internet today where there are stations across the world. There are around 190 to 220 stations at given point of time across the world, spread across the globe, who have dedicated receivers and a Windows machine that is decoding in every CQ call that station can hear. Okay,
One of which is
so
yours.
one of which is mine. Mine is one of
Yeah.
four in India now. It was a third
Okay.
one in India, and I was looking at the statistics of my station a few weeks ago. So I think the very first station in India was Prasad's VU2 Papa Tango Tango. He's a great,
Okay.
amazing ham, and I think he's at DXCC 339 or something.
All
So,
right.
uh, and he's ranked number one even today. So I think he started one, and then there is VU2CPL, Charlie Papa Lima.
Yeah.
Then there was third one was me, and now the fourth one is VU2 Oscar Yankee. So
Yankee. Yeah.
there are four skimmers in India, and so when
Mm-hmm.
my station hears a CQ call, even if I'm not there, it will decode it, upload it to a telnet server, and that
Mm-hmm.
telnet server will publish on the website. Okay. So, and this decoding to a telnet server is being
Mm-hmm.
pulled. This information is not only being pulled by the RBN website, but also being pulled by tools like Hamlet,
Yeah.
SKCC server. Then there is A1 Club. Those guys also have their own. So if you go on, there's a website called rbn.activity
Mm-hmm.
de, and there you can see the list of clubs, and you can filter stations who are big calling CQ based on the club that you want to affiliate with. Some clubs are
Okay.
easy to enter. For example, SKCC, this thing, SK, and FIST are very easy to enter. You just do an online application and they will put you in. Clubs like CW Ops and FOC, First Officers Clubs, they are difficult to enter because you need to have a certain a skill level to be able to be part of the club. Like for example, I now my goal is to be part of get a CW Ops number. So one of the requirements is that you need to have three, two or three sponsors who are
Mhm.
already CW Ops members, and you should be able to send and receive at 25 words a minute. Okay. FOC, First Officers Club, is I think even tougher. It requires you to have a certain duration of conversation in order to be eligible at a higher speed.
All right.
So yeah, so these clubs are great. Like any club in the world, when you join a club, you are always mingling with people who are at similar stages of your hobby.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And that's why so SKCC people will send CQ calls at 8, 10, 12 words a minute. The
Mm-hmm.
exchange is very simple. You need to be able to copy their call sign, their name, their SKCC number, and
Mm-hmm.
something called the SPC, which is basically where you're from in the world. India, Delhi, Bhopal, etc. So once you do that, you get an exchange, and once you connect 100 different stations across the world, you can apply for something called the Centurion. There is senator and then different classes also. So you can be part of different segments once you make certain number of contacts. So the whole idea of pushing this is, in my understanding, is to encourage people to have as many contacts as possible.
Right.
We learned as children and school and college. There's something called learning by doing.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly learning by doing. You learn
Right.
CW or the skill of going on the air by having QSOs. And once you have those goals in mind, oh, I should do 100 contacts of SKCC members, then I can apply for a Centurion tag. Or I should do next level, I can apply for a Senator tag. Or I can do
Mm-hmm.
something else, I can apply for another tag. So these are different tags that are available. So, and I encourage everyone who's starting out to be on SKCC, just because those guys are one of the best guys that like, even if you make a mistake, no problem. I mean, this everybody says, but it's difficult to believe that nobody's going to land in a hospital, not you, not the other operator, if you
Mm-hmm.
goof up on the air.
Correct.
We are
Yeah.
we are not exchanging critical life-saving information on
Mm.
radio anymore. It's a hobby. It's form of entertainment that we are all having. Uh,
Mm.
yes, there are emergency communications, but that's a separate topic altogether. The focus here is just to enjoy the journey of being a radio operator, and especially on the Morse code side of it. So, and you know why CW? You don't need a lot of investment in terms of radio
Radio.
to be on CW. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's you can buy, like, you can buy a rig from QRP Labs. They deliver in India, by the
Mhm.
way. Uh, and it's $57 for the QCX
Mhm. Mini. Yeah.
series, mini, or even the regular QCX. Both are $57. And I imported one. I mean, I failed at making it, I must admit, but I don't know what's wrong with it. It's heating up. But with customs, the customs duty is 1,200 or to 1,500, I think, something like that. The charge FedEx charged me. It comes by FedEx within 4 to 5 days.
Okay.
So
Wow.
okay, so
Mhm.
it's a 5 watt radio. $57 is uh, nothing. Basically, it's what,
Mhm.
4,000 in today's
Mhm.
currency, $60, something like that, 4 to 5,000 rupees. So in 5,000 rupees, you can build your own radio of this particular band, uh, and just to voice it out, vocalize it, building a dipole, you can do it under 1,000 rupees. Yeah.
बिल्कुल.
So so the barrier to enter the hobby is not like the cost to enter the hobby is not 1 lakh
Mhm.
plus rupees, but it's only like under 10,000,
Mhm.
which is quite doable for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And there have been kits on Amazon, which like they say that 49 or something like that, right? You can get it for
Yeah,
like 2000 rupees, build it
yeah, yeah,
yourself, like at least be able to transmit and receive
yeah, yeah.
on the 40-meter band at least. So
Correct,
just about
correct.
starting it up. And I
However,
think the first.
I would not
Uh-huh.
recommend that one
Mm.
because the filters are really horrible in that.
Okay.
It's a good kit to start with for soldering practice, to
Hmm.
make sure that you know what you have done. But I think to start with something like a QCX or a true SDX. You can even
True.
get them built. Huh? I mean,
Yeah.
or ask nicely. How many people have so many radios lying in their house and they can just lend you one? So
Yeah.
uh, this hobby. I mean, people often ask, "Isn't it a dying hobby?" No. Isn't CW dying? Not at all. I see every year somebody's breaking records, and every year expeditions going. For example, in Feb, you will have the Bouvet Island expedition, which is going to cost about what, $2 million in cost. And in fact, I was listening to one of the participants on this podcast called ICQ podcast. There was an interview of one of the participants. He himself has committed $22,000 before even the expedition has started. Like,
Okay.
this is the basic cost to even start preparing for the expedition. So it's an expensive expedition. People are going to Bouvet Island, which is like north of in Antarctica. It's a
Hmm.
dangerous place, but people will go. People will operate out of there, and it's one of the rare locations on the planet where nobody operates out of. So, if it were a dying hobby or CW was not of focus, people would not be
They wouldn't
spending this
do it.
kind of. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and most expeditions, good ones,
Hmm.
they when I say good ones, like I mean multi-operator ones, because
Hmm.
sometimes you do a holiday style expedition where you do only FT8, but
Hmm.
most multi-operator expeditions have a very good focus on CW because it's so easy to work.
Efficient. And also
Efficient.
efficient.
Yeah, it's so efficient and easy. Uh,
Yeah.
in fact, I'll take a slight off tangent thing of it and compare FT8 and CW. I
Hmm.
think I'm gonna get a lot of flack for it, but still. Now there's a case study which I don't know how true it is, but it makes a nice story. So let's talk about it. Uh, we know this company that makes pancake mix, Dr. Becky or something like that. Becky's
Hmm.
pancake, Vector or Becky's pancake mix. They have two versions of pancake mix. One is you only add water, and the other is you add milk and butter. Otherwise, both taste the same, perfectly the
Mm.
same. More, which sells more? The one with milk and butter, where you have to add milk and butter. Why? Because as humans, we like to do things with our own hands. We want things to be slightly difficult, but not challenging enough,
Right.
right? So FTA takes that away from you.
Hmm.
It makes things so easy that yes, it's
Just a
perfect
click
for
away.
a beginner.
Mhm.
I mean, but in the end, it's a computer talking to another computer. It's not the same. So in CW, even if you are using keyboard sending, even if you are, but you're still decoding with your brain, you know. So
Right.
you have to know enough CW, enough Morse code to be able to copy your own call sign.
True.
So, what's the definition of literacy? Literacy in our country means if you can read and write your own name.
Mhm.
That's how the administration defined literacy at some point. That anybody who can read and write their own name is literate, because everything else is like it's very subjective. So here in Morse code, the day you are
Mm.
able to copy your own call sign at different speeds, and you're able to send your call sign, I believe you're ready to go on the air. Okay.
True.
And 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 I will talk about even how, I mean, there are certain, and it's not wrong in my opinion to do this way, because in the end you are we all start with training wheels when we learn to ride a bicycle, or somebody is holding a bicycle. So you can use certain tools available to give you that support of training wheels till you feel confident enough to go to the next level. So the very first level I would say is learn basic Morse code, learn your own call sign, play it back at 10 words, 20 words, 30 words, 40 words a minute. You should be able to copy your own call sign at any speed,
Right.
right? And then you should be able to, once you learn the whole alphabet, sometimes your brain needs a bit of priming, especially in the initial days. For example, if you hear my call sign VU2TUM, you might copy VU2 easily because it's part of your call sign, right? But TUM might be difficult for you, which is okay. You can take help of the RBN, because if I'm calling CQ, somebody will spot me on RBM automatically.
Mm.
You can see who is on this particular frequency. Now, if you hear, like if you read VU to TUM on the RBM and then you hear the frequency, your brain is already primed. You know how what T sounds like, what U sounds like, what M sounds like, right? And then you can confirm using your own the what I say the computing power between your ears to understand
Mhm.
what you're hearing. You all you have to as a very basic QSO, send your call sign back. I'll give you your report. You can send 599 even if you don't receive me 599.
Mm.
Like a lot of what I'm gonna say is people are gonna uh, not be happy about it, but it's okay. Huh? Uh,
That
whatever,
happens.
whatever. Yeah, that happens. Huh?
And the
I
contests
can't
are
make
all about
everybody.
that. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So
Yeah.
so you do that, and then you are able to make a QSO.
Hmm.
I remember my first QSO because this kind of information was not available. I did not know RBN back then. So I copied this station from Brazil. I forgot his call sign. I was trying to look up before the call, but I can't make it out. Uh, so I copied his call sign. It took me like a couple of minutes because I went character by character, P, Y, 2 or 1 something, and then the other part of it. And then I sent him my call sign because that was easy. So he replied back, "We to TUM, and your report 559 whatever." And then I forgot how to type out like how to key a PY. I just forgot. He kept sending QRZ, Q question mark. Are you there? I was like sweating but could not send. So that happens. It's your
Yeah.
first QSO. So I wrote him an email which he never replied to. I mean, that I could not do it and I'm sorry for it. But today I realized that it happens with a lot of people. It's okay. And people, nobody is going to come back and discourage you that, oh, why couldn't you send? Oh, you
Right.
sent wrongly. Nobody does it. I mean, the worst I've heard is somebody who is impatient or not in a mood to really to work you at your speed or at your skill level would say 73s and go away.
Yeah.
And I've been told by a lot of veteran hams that if you are struggling, if the station is not letting you go past and you're not having a QSO, either you send 73 or your QSI go one KC up, and then you start calling CQ again. So
That makes sense.
in the end, it's the whole journey of doing the QSO on air, which is very rewarding.
And I think the tools which you have mentioned, Puneet, my earlier understanding about all these tools was the hobby should be so, yeah, pristine that other than a radio, there should be nothing involved in a communication. So I thought the
Mm,
other station should only be there with their antenna and the speakers. But later on, I realized that it's so complex. In fact, for a beginner like me, just to have that thing going on, because everyone wants to do a Rakchu at the end, right? But it's
yeah,
not easy
that's your
to
goal.
right. That's your goal, and that's where
Yeah.
like I've been practicing for almost like past 15 days with Victor Uniform 2, Juliet Foxtrot Sierra, old man old man surveys from Pune. So every morning we do practice, but I still feel that it's not very easy to get into that Rakchu mode, and it involves a lot of
Mm,
practice. And quite frankly, if someone is not aware about all those efforts, they'll be so discouraged by the initial the the efforts that are it takes to at least get familiar with this hobby. So even if that aspect is not known to you, you'll somehow get discouraged and maybe just move away from CW altogether. But that is where people like you and reverse beacon and things which you have introduced me with, those have been very fundamental in understanding that it's not that you're just sending diddas in blank air, you are getting heard somewhere even if someone is
yeah,
not replying back to you. So
correct,
that's been
correct.
very fundamental. So your thoughts about that?
So see, again, Rakchu territory is something which is a later goal, I would say. It should not be your initial goal because uh, we first need to learn the alphabet and the 10 numbers and certain punctuation marks, certain pro signs. So let's say overall 40 different combinations of combination that can be formed by using a dit and a dash, right?
Right.
So that is the first goal. And within that, there are also multiple stages. Uh, so it's I think everybody who would start CW would know that the timing of a call is based on how fast you send the word Paris.
Mm.
It's called so uh, so the reaction time for every character is extremely important. And there's a tool that was built by my instructor, again from CW Ops, John, Alpha Juliet 1 Delta Mike, is called Better ICR. Okay. And this tool requires you to use something with a keyboard. You can't really use it on a phone. If you want to use a tablet, you need to have an external keyboard. So, how this works is that it will play a character, and you need to first voice out the character as quickly as you can and then type
Yeah.
it to confirm. Okay. Now, one of the requirements of intermediate level was, so how the CW Ops has beginners, fundamental, intermediate, and advanced. I did not do beginners and fundamental with them, but I straight away qualified for intermediate. And one of the goals of that course was to be able to copy and receive at 20 words per minute. Okay, which means my reaction time has to be less than 500 milliseconds at 20 words. So the sound comes, it should take me 500 milliseconds to
Mhm.
decode and uh, like, I'm not saying visualize, but the character should come to your mind, to your conscious mind, that somebody has sent a or a Z, Q or a
Mm.
L, So that has to come within 500 milliseconds. So he does that with like the goal is to make all the bars green of his chart. That means you're under 500. Very recently, he sent an update where he has now given you the ability to increase the word speed, which means your reaction time has to be now, like if you're testing at 25 words per minute, say for the sake of discussion, it should be 300 milliseconds. At 40
Mhm.
words per minute, it should be 200 milliseconds. So your reaction time should be that fast to be able to copy
So
to
it's
it.
kind of a game, or
It's
like,
kind
do
of
you
a
get
game,
scores?
but
All right.
you get scores, and we used to share our progress with him every week.
Is there a
Okay,
leaderboard?
and no, there's no leaderboard. No,
Okay.
one of the way that at least he has been teaching us was, he said each one of you are at different levels, even though you have joined the same class, and each one of you will progress at different levels.
Mhm.
It's okay to be. So he would not share that Kshitij is doing better than Puneet. No, at least not in public.
All
He
right.
would probably write to you one on one, and then he would tell you, because while it would encourage you, it might discourage me,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
So there is no leaderboard concept. You are competing against yourself.
Mhm.
Every single time you take that exercise, you are your own competition, and I think that is one of the great aspects of learning CW is that if I send you my weather report is cloudy and smog, but if you only copy WX and you don't copy anything ahead of it, but you reply back with your WX to me, I will assume that you did copy mine
Mhm.
because you did not ask me for a repeat and you replied with your weather. And we can talk about it as well. I mean, this is one of the techniques which another instructor in LICW told us about context. So we can discuss context as well. But there are some clubs like Fist, their motto is accuracy trumps speed. You need to be accurate. It's okay to be slow. There are some clubs like uh, this thing CW Ops where the
Mhm.
focus is accuracy, but more weightage is given to speed. Okay,
Right.
so
Yes.
there, and they also put a lot of emphasis on head copy. Stop writing on your notebooks. Head copy. This again is something that we need to develop, and it is developable, because like one of the questions that are often people would say is, oh, I'm 50 years old, oh, I'm 60 years old, how can I learn CW now? I mean, I have seen people in my classes who are 85, 87, 90 years old,
Mhm.
and they started like uh, say at the same time as you, and because of course they have free time, they have worked their lives. I'm not complaining that they have free time.
Mhm.
Since they have done their own life stages, and they're in a different stage where they have more time than us, they're able to get on the air much faster. So, and one of the things about, like, it was debunked a few years ago that you can't learn something new after the age of 18 or 25. That has been debunked. People can continue to make new memories, develop new skills throughout their lives. And the more you keep your brain active, the less chances of diseases like dementia or Parkinson's or
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's something that, like, a lot of people have told me that I did CW for 5 minutes. My brain is actually dead. Like, I'm totally like exhausted in my head. And this is true. This happened to me as well. This will happen to everybody who has started their journey, because you once you go on the air, like if you're practicing in a closed room in front of a mirror, you're speaking. It's like speaking in public. Huh? If you're speaking in front of mirror, even if you make a mistake, nobody's you're not that conscious. But the moment you're sending it on the air, of course there's one person there who you're communicating with. But since our communication is open, unencrypted, the whole world can be hearing you.
Right.
And that feeling makes you concentrate so much on what is being sent that it really, like, 5-10 minutes initially is like, I can't do it anymore.
True.
And this is very normal feeling. It goes away very quickly.
It's fine
So
messing it
so
up, but not in front of the whole world. So that's what.
I mean, it's even if you mess up it from the whole world,
Hmm.
nothing is going to happen. Yeah, but I'm also not saying that don't make an effort. Just keep making mistakes. That's not
Hmm.
the message here. The message is that don't let that feeling of making a mistake prevent you from going on the air.
Absolutely true.
Yeah. So that's
Yes.
the message here. Yeah. And and at some point, we touched about different aspects. In the beginning, we talked about like there are different aspects of being a ham. There are somebody
Hmm.
called like there are new hams who have just entered the hobby, and there are returning hams. Like me, I came on. I was active for 6 7 months in 2012, and then life happened. For 10 years I was not active. So it's okay to return to a hobby and start afresh. A lot would change. Things have become easier. All I can say is things
Hmm.
are becoming very, very easy. So I think it's normal for people to feel overwhelmed, but it is something which is very much doable. Rakchu will be will be there at a slightly later stage before Raksu and before the first type of communication that I told you, like Exchange 59973. I mean, you would, if you go on certain people's QRZ page, you will find a image of saying no 5973.
Hmm.
Okay. Because they want more than that. And
Yes.
I totally respect those people because you should aspire for more than that. You should not aspire for a speed dating thing. Okay, hello, hi, and move on. Or what is now being famously called as the FT8 type of contacts. You
Hmm.
exchange call signs, you exchange 599 report and 73, and then you say goodbye.
Right.
And then you move to the next. It's just like an FT8. But if that is what it takes you to go on the air, make first 20, 30, 50 contacts, go ahead, do it. Yes, there might be somebody who will say, I will not do 5973. It's fine. There are 20 other people, 200 other people who are happy to work you 59973.
Hmm.
So do that. Uh, and coming to the second part of it would be what we call as a cookie cutter format. So here the focus is on developing certain vocabulary of certain common QSO elements. Okay, and the focus is that okay, I will print out a sheet of paper. I will type what I need to send. CQ, this is VU2TUM, ARK, and then wait for a call, say VU2 JDC response. I will say, good afternoon, VU2 JDC. Thanks for your call. TNX FER, not FOR, FERCALL. Then your report, your UR RST 579589599, whatever you want to give. Then OP Puneit,
Hmm.
so how copy. Okay. So the advantage of this is that yes, I strongly believe you should be able to copy the RST at least. Okay, that is bare minimum for QSO. You should be able to copy what the other person has given you a report. However, you don't copy my name because you're from a different culture, and this my name is something that is not familiar to you. It's very likely.
Fine.
People say
Yeah.
have a radio name, even if you don't have one, you can still continue to use your own name, and it's fine if you don't copy somebody's name. Either you can ask for a repeat,
Hmm.
or you can give your name, give your QTH. People may not know Gurgaon, may not know some certain smaller towns of the country, but you can say, okay, I am near Delhi, I am near Bombay, I am near Calcutta, near Chennai. So it just gives them a fair idea of which part of the country you're calling from. And you can then, if you want to still extend it, you can in the next over, you can talk about weather, you can talk about temperature, you can talk about your antenna, your rig. Okay. Now, what I am trying to share here is context. For example, there could be only so many types of antennas that people are using. The most common are end-fed half-wave, Yagis, verticals, hex beams, spider beams, quad loop.
Dipoles.
Somebody will be using, yeah, somebody might be using a vertical, somebody might be using a loop or a delta loop. Like I use a delta loop, but all G5RV, you know, these are 10, 12 types of antennas that you need to practice on,
Hmm.
so that when somebody sends their antenna type, even if there is QSB, you hear AGI, you miss the first Y, you know it's a Yagi. Because before sending the AGI, he was talking about ANT,
My
and
A.
my antenna, right?
Mhm.
So it's not necessary to copy 100%. Get the context.
Right.
If somebody talking about weather, and you only copy R, and then you miss everything in between, and in the end ing, it's probably raining there,
True.
right?
And that's how like
Yeah. So,
human emotions also work, right? Because there are
exactly,
certain things
exactly.
which are completely straightforward, and then some part which is you have to make it out. Like you have to maybe understand the tone, maybe understand
Exactly, exactly.
the time and temperature. So yeah, a lot of things can be. So okay, well, Puneet, I think that's like a fantastic thing for at least someone who's getting started. You know, to not be afraid from the hobby, and
Yeah,
at least be at least a bare minimum prepared and get started on the airwaves. So this is the best thing, I think, best advice we can also share with the newcomers. uh, uh, Puneet, I think I would like to know a little bit more about who Puneet is when he's out of the shack. So, like most of us, like the WhatsApp groups and wherever we are connected, you are well known for uh, a very enthusiastic and very regular CW operator, someone whose reverse beacon will always report your signal whenever you're calling CQ. So you're pretty popular over there. But how would we know who's Puneet when he's not in the shack? So could you share a bit about yourself? Like what have you studied? What do you work? Like anything which you are comfortable in sharing with the community.
so I mean, I did engineering in biomedical field, and I worked with Philips for a couple of years, and then I went into MBA, started working with the retail sector. So today I am heading supply chain for one of the luxury retailers in India. It's a French company that I work with, and but that work doesn't define who I am. In the sense, I always say work is a means to an end. It's not the meaning of your life. So my wife Neha, she's also a ham. VU2HUM. So we are Humtum. So that's how we are also known in the VU radio community as Humtum. And both of us like to travel. So we've covered most of part of the country quite early on when we got married, and now we do like international trips every few months. So I think last we counted, it's been a while, but now since last we have to check it. But I think I did more than 60. We have done more than 60 countries. So and very recently when we've started going there, we have also we're meeting hams from those countries. In Alaska, I operated as well as KL7/VU2TUM, but it was a holiday style whenever I was back at the hotel, or free evening one day or a couple of days, so I did that. So yeah, and then so that's more or less about me. And another thing is that a lot many people know that we are child free. We are child free couple. So this is another topic that a lot of people would come and ask us that how did you manage to live this lifestyle, and how is it going for you guys? And I think it's a brilliant lifestyle. I'm a very strong believer there are 8 billion people on this planet. We don't need to add more.
Mhm.
It's high time that the population stabilizes globally. So, and everybody has to do their part to do it. So that's in short who we are. I mean, she's also working. She's head of talent acquisition for a very large hospital in Gurgaon, and so that's what is all about us in brief. Yeah.
Excellent. Great to know about
Mm.
this, Puneet. I wasn't aware that what background, like your education and everything, whatever your QRZ profile said, I was mostly aware about that. But yes,
Yeah.
thanks for sharing the details. I'm sure we would. know you more, and in fact, there'll be more things to talk to you about when we are on air. So that's a good share from your side. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
before we wrap it up, you have already covered most of the topics we wanted to put into this podcast. In fact,
Hmm.
you have shared it in a very connected way. So we didn't even have to make it sound like something which we are sharing. It has been packed with experience and real time cases, use cases. So would you just would like to add a closing note, or maybe something which you wanted to cover, and then a closing note? So it's completely up to you.
Okay, see, a lot of people they ask, how do you attract new hams into the hobby? A new, especially the younger generation who was on Instagram and Snapchat of the world, and how do you attract them to the hobby? Uh, so this is again, I don't know, a lot of people know about it, so I'm going to mention it. There are so many organizations in the world, ham radio rated organizations who give out scholarships. ARDC is one, ARR is one. Then there is a couple of others more who would give scholarships to students who, like, if you learn Morse code and you are a ham radio operator, you can apply for a CW of scholarship. It may not
Right.
be a big one, but it's fine, and they're open to give it to everybody and anybody in the world. There, of course, they will have their own criteria to give it to you, but yes, you can apply. So that's something that I think people are really encouraging everyone to be a ham, whoever wants to be it. And I would say yes, in any hobby, you would meet elements who are not very encouraging, but overall, the community is very supportive. They are very happy to share their knowledge, and they are very eager to talk about it. So, talk to any one of us how to be a ham, and what you want to do is probably that some you should be able to find out. You want to build things and do things. Yes, you want to operate on satellites. Yes, you want to downlink on satellites. Yes, I mean there is no dirt to it, and there are careers people are making out of this hobby as well. There are so many things people are doing, and I know a lot of youngsters these days don't want to be in the corporate 9 to 5 or a 12 hours corporate job where you're reporting to somebody. A lot of them want to do something of their own. And this could give you some idea of where your interests lie and what you want to do. And be active. Huh? So even like one of the regrets I have is that okay, I thought that only by transmitting I can be active on this in this hobby. But these 10 years that I was not active, there were so many things I could have done. I could have even put a small antenna in my balcony or in my room, a loop antenna, and connected a RBN to it. Okay, the results might not be as good as a full-fledged antenna, but it might help somebody within 500-kilometer radius. Why not? Right? So there are things, see where your interest lies in the end, and uh, whatever you want to do, I mean, you want to travel the world. Uh, this is how some people are attracting youngsters also, and like newcomers as well.
Mhm.
That so many D expeditions are going, and they are looking for operators. They are looking for CW operators, particularly. Like I don't know if you
Mm.
saw in that group, this
Yes,
Middle Eastern Kuwait or Qatar. I think one of those countries were
I
looking
think
for. Yeah, yeah.
yes, Kuwait, and some experienced hams already had visited one, so they shared that it's a good opportunity.
Exactly, exactly. I got a message from a ham in Thailand, not a Thai ham, but a British, or I think it was somebody from Europe, who said that for the CQ Worldwide CQ, that contest that is next week, they are willing to give you all paid trip to Phuket. Uh,
Mhm.
and if you do 3 weeks with them, like basically spend 3 weeks with them, they will take care of all your expenses as well. There is an Andaman expedition next year, VU4 expedition. It's a big one. There's a ham from Africa, a young ham. I think he's about 18 or 20 years old. He will be the first like ham from Africa going on an international D expedition to Andamans and operating out of there. So
Wow, wonderful.
there are opportunities. I mean, how often would you like people who are going to Bouvet? I know they're spending their money, but there are other expeditions where you get sponsorships, and you can go to those rare islands and to to go to such islands would cost you like your entire lifetime's income as well at times. So things are there. There's no, I mean, if we keep start talking about them, we will never end. So, but yeah, uh, go for it, clear your exams, and while you're clearing exams, just talk to one of us if you have any questions, and we can help you. Yeah.
Absolutely. There is a lot to explore in the hobby, and in here in India, I think we are barely getting started. The Elmers have done the great job of keeping the airwaves alive, but all the modes and the kind of hardware we are able to source so easily these days, I think the advanced part of it, like which you have quite frankly have been already experienced in handling, like satellite operations and all. I think not many have been into this. Maybe with all the advancement and getting cheaper electronics, we can also get into this part of the hobby, which is pretty much fantastic, and the kind of fine-tuned electronic capabilities you develop while setting up in a station like this. It's unparalleled to, just casually operating another station just for HF operations, maybe. So
Yeah.
this is the way forward, maybe the advanced part in the hobby.
This is indeed, I mean, if you see the number of let's since we're talking about RBN a lot, let's see how many RBN nodes are there in Japan or in Europe, and how many we have in India. I mean, we have three in the southern part of India, one in Bangalore, one in near Bombay, and one near Kerala. The east coast of India has none. North, I am the only one near Delhi. Uh, Northeast has none. West part of the country has none. So we are a huge country. I mean, people talk about DX. Yes, the other day I spoke to us. I had a QSO with a station in Kazakhstan, Almaty, which is like 1,600 kilometers away. And
Hmm.
then I had a QSO with JXL in Kerala. He's 2,200 kilometers away. Yet the one 2,200 kilometers away is not considered DX because he's a VU, but the one in EX land is considered DX because, but he's
It's
closer to me. How's Kerala not DX and and Kazakhstan DX,
true. It
right?
doesn't
So
make
I
sense.
think so even that definition, of course, we can't change the whole call sign structure of the country. That's not going to happen anytime soon. But we should start respecting that. Yes, when a north station is talking to a south station, it is DX. I mean,
Yes.
what else? People in Europe, their country changes every 400-500 kilometers of aerial distance. We don't have that advantage, but we
True.
have states. I mean, if we'll have to go back and see who was this person, but there was this QSL manager in RC before Lakshman VU2LBW. There was this. I think it was PAI or somebody was there. He used to run these contests, or he was a contest manager. So maybe I'm something I'm not right here, but yeah. So, but if you go online, if you see that he used to run these contests, worked all Indian states.
Hmm.
We are not doing that anymore.
Oh.
It is a thing in US, work all US states. It's a thing in Japan, work all Japanese prefectures. It used to be a thing in Russia, work all obliques. I think they call it obliques in oblast or something like that. Oblast in Russia. So, and there is one for work all China. China has their own. They had their whole contest designed over work all China. This was, I think, in October sometime, last second last week of October or something. And contesting, again, contesting is a big thing.
Yes.
People should. I encourage people to try their hands on contesting. DXCC is a great program altogether. Again, you then there is something called the DX Marathon every year. Even say I have achieved the nirvana of working 340 countries. What next? People say, what next? You work every year. You work as many as you can. Again, January the clock resets and you can apply for a DX Marathon award. So,
Mhm.
and this awards and recognition is something that is there in all hobbies, and this will what keeps the hobby alive. So, and if you're
Yeah.
not for that, I mean, maybe this is not your forte. You are not competitive in nature. You just want to have a nice, clean rack chew with somebody. Go ahead, do that. So, in the end, I mean, the essence of everything is get on the air. That is the most important part. Don't be shy
And
to get on the air. Yeah.
absolutely. And What's your experience with POTA and SOTA, like parks on the air, summits on the air?
Summits on the air, I don't think we have many takers in the country. We have some POTA operators in like West Bengal, some POTA operators in South. There is one POTA activity going in Delhi right now, IN181, which is a leopard trail. But again, I believe that a lot of people don't know that under POTA, you're supposed to make 10 contacts within 24 hours.
Yes.
So, yeah, so a lot of people are not aware. So, that is important to activate the park. And if you see the POTA map of India, 90% or more than 90% parks were never activated. So the
Hmm.
opportunity lies there. If you are in a restricted environment where you can't put up an antenna, get a small rig like a QCX Mini or a True STX or a ZBTX, SBTX, whatever is like you want to buy on. Get a small antenna and go and operate from a park. There is this guy, Pat. I mean, his name is Patrick, but handle is Pat. Alpha 65D in Dubai. He's an expat
Hmm.
living in Dubai. He does POTA. He does POTA in Dubai by sitting in his car out in the parking lot. So
Excellent.
people can do that.
So I'll
Yeah,
just like to share a quick thing about this POTA operation, Puneet. So I've operated almost all the parks in MP, but
mm.
sadly on digital mode only. So I've got this Zygo G90, a 20-watt rig. It's got an internal tuner, so I've got the liberty of just throwing an NFET. It tunes it,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I can just get on the air. So it's pretty much easy to set up. So luckily, I was able to like firstly travel to all the national parks here and also activate those. And
yeah.
my next aim is to do that all on CW and SSB at least.
So
So
CW is easy on 20 watts. 20 watt
yeah,
CW is equal to say to 150 200 watts of SSB.
right,
Yeah,
true.
so yeah, it's 20 watts is a big signal in CW.
POTA is one activity which, at least in India, can pick it. We can pick it up because we have
Of
such
course.
great parks, and quite frankly, operators who are mostly available to at least support the activators. So this is something which can also pick up here in India at least. I see there is a lot of activity in the US mostly, and also in the Philippines and these area, but not much of this is happening in India. But this should happen, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. Even summits on the air, parks on the air, great programs, and we should do as much as we can there as well. And now that the license also like there were RTIs done with WPC where clarifications have been given that you are allowed to operate from anywhere unless the area is restricted. And most of these parks are allowed. I mean, you one can go there and do it. And if you still feel hesitant to take equipment into the park, you can do it from the parking lot because
Absolutely
most parking lots are within the park area. I mean, they're not outside the park area.
true.
So
And
yeah,
you just have to be almost like 10 feet near the trail, and that
yeah,
also counts. I think that's part of the rule. So great, Puneet. I think that was great
yeah.
chatting and
Nice
a
chatting
lot of
with you as well.
good. Absolutely. It was like unexpected to have so many things, so many topics covered in just one single podcast. And glad to know that you have covered everything in just one shot, and not too much questioning was required from my side. So that was great. So thanks again for doing this, Puneet. I'm sure we'll come up with something more because the hobby is growing. Our
Mm,
interest is growing into more different verticals within this hobby, and I think gradually we can get more details, more topics, and I think more
sure.
participants to cover different stuffs here. So thanks for being on the first podcast for
Thank you
the
for having
face behind
me.
the
And
call signs.
yeah, and I wish you all the best for the next weekend CQ Worldwide CW contest. Do
Mhm.
participate, and it's good to be there because you will work a lot of countries on that day, on those 2 days.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks for the advice,
Okay.
Puneet. I'll definitely try. Have a wonderful one, and
Yeah.
see you on the air again and
See you on the air.
the next podcast soon. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. 73. Bye.
73 is bye bye.